In this video, I'm going to teach you the basics of flat lay photography, from choosing your background to choosing props and things that can go inside your photograph, as well as some compositional rules. So before you start your flat lay, ask yourself, why is it that you're taking this photograph? And the answer may be many different reasons. For example, it may be that you have a product that you would like to showcase. It may be that you have an inspirational quote that you would like to take a photograph for and then later upload it to your social media. Or it could be that you're just taking a photograph to emit a mood for perhaps your Instagram or another photograph. Now, the answer to that question will not just determine what kind of props that you pull together to support that photograph, but it will also determine the composition and the way that you take your flat lay. So let me explain. For example, if you are taking a photograph of a product, say a watch, you are going to look around and pull other items that will support that particular product. For example, you may want to showcase anything else that is worn on the hand, say rings, or alongside the watch you may want to put some other jewelry. If it's a female watch, if it's a male watch, you may want to pull out some cufflinks and some aftershave or male perfume. So those are the types of considerations for a product. In terms of inspirational quote, you may look at the flat lay and understand what kind of negative space you're going to need to leave for that quote. When we talk about negative space, what I'm talking about is space in and around the subject of your image. For example, if your subject of the image is a cup of coffee, the negative space will be the space around the cup of coffee, and it will depend where you place that cup as to where the negative space appears. For example, you could have your coffee to the left and the negative space would be to the right, or you could have your cup of coffee on the right hand side of your image with negative space to the left. And that is what I mean by leaving negative space for a quote or something that you might want to write over your image once you've taken it. So anything that you put on your flat lay might need to be arranged only on the edges of your picture. If you are going to take a photograph to emit a feeling, then you may want to collect items that kind of elicit that emotional response. Say, for example, you want to photograph a warm, cozy winter's evening, perhaps holding a cup of coffee. You may want to gather textures and woolen and scarf or hat or blanket, things that make you feel as if you're comfortable, cozy and warm. And those are the considerations that all derive from why you are taking the flat lay photo in the first place. Once you have all of your themed items for your flat lay together, I give the advice to tell a story with these items. And by that I mean put them in a way that tells a story to you, such as if you have a bag and some items that are going in the bag, perhaps it's because you've been shopping and perhaps on the way back from shopping you've put flowers or something else in your bag, and you build up a story as to why those items are in the order that they are and presented the way you want to show them. Now, it doesn't matter if the audience or the viewer doesn't really understand your story. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you've made a connection and a relation to the items in your head that makes sense, and therefore the image will in some way make sense to other people who are then viewing your image later. And if you want real-time examples of this, hop over to my creative corner where I make images live every month, and you can see how my storytelling develops once I'm building an image up. If you like this video, please click like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when we release the next video. The great thing about Flatlay is you don't need much equipment at all. Remember earlier when I talked about why you're taking a Flatlay? That applies to the question of what equipment you might need. If you're just taking it for social media to upload to your Instagram or Facebook, a phone and natural window light is all you need. If on the other hand you're going to print it or you're going to need it at a bigger resolution, perhaps cracking out your DSLR will be the way to go. Either way, natural window light and your camera is really all you need. In terms of what you're going to see me shoot Flatlay with in the studio, I am using a softbox, but only because we don't have a nice big window light in order to film and shoot in the studio. Traditionally, Flatlays are taken from above your image, looking straight down. And the key thing to images taken in this way is to make sure they are absolutely directly above your image. And in order to do this, you can do it a couple of ways. Firstly, you can have a spirit level to make sure that your camera is absolutely flat, and both flat this way and this way and this way and this way. If you don't have a spirit level, you can also purchase a spirit level that goes on top of your camera, which fastens onto the hot shoe on top of your camera and will tell you whether or not your camera is perfectly balanced. I wouldn't recommend going off the tripod bubble because that only tells you whether or not the tripod itself is stable and flat, not the camera. And it is possible to have your tripod stable and flat, but your camera tilted at an angle, and that won't affect the bubble on the tripod. So this spirit level on the top of the hot shoe will ensure that your camera is flat and the image that you've taken from above is direct and square onto your image. The other piece of equipment that you might want to consider, although it's not totally necessary if you're just using your phone, is a tripod, and particularly a tripod that has the ability of shooting overhead, perhaps with an extendable overhead arm. We'll drop in the comments our favorite brands. Your background choice in Flatlays will be entirely down to why you are taking the Flatlay in the first place and what type of products and props you are putting in your Flatlay. Now, if you are a beginner to Flatlay, I strongly recommend that you just start off with a plain white background. It's so easy to use, and once you get the hang of that, then perhaps you can move on to a darker background, or even the sheets on your bed. The sky's the limit in terms of what you can use for your background, but to start with, keep it really simple for yourself and make sure that you get the basics under your belt first. Once you have your background and all of your themed items together, just putting them on your background isn't going to really make a great image, no matter how you just throw them onto the background. The truth is that you are going to need to move these items around and make a composition that is pleasing to the eye. Now, there are a lot of compositional rules out there for you to follow as a guide, but honestly, the best thing that may work for you in the beginning is to move these items around until you are happy with the image that you're seeing in the back of your camera. I hope that you found this video to be useful, and I can't wait to see how you get on with your own Flatlays. Please let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe and notification bell so when these videos come out, you're the first to hear of it.